It's the Racing Postcast, brought to you by the Racing Post, sponsored by Unibet. Welcome along. If it is your first time here, do hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 60,000 subscribers on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Let's make this show the show that gets that over the line. You're here to join us for big previews, big tips, and the occasional bad joke. And we've decided to go into a studio for today's show. And joining me in the studio today, Mr. Robbie Wilders. Looking forward to a Group 1 weekend, Robbie.
Good to see you, mate. How are you?
Great to see you too. Great to see you.
Thanks very much indeed.
Looking forward to the weekend?
I'm looking forward to it, mate. What a time to be alive. Sprint Cup at Haydock, a load of other good stuff. It's a time of year I enjoy. I like this autumn time. The weather's turning, the nights are getting shorter. Well, they're getting longer, actually. That's how it works, isn't it?
I think
it's a good time of year.
Absolutely, yeah, it is a good time of the year with the Ledger coming up as well next week. And joining us on call is our assistant betting editor here at the Racing Post. It is Graeme Rodway. Graeme, how are you?
Hi Sam, yeah, good to be on. Something for everyone this weekend, isn't there? It's a fantastic weekend, racing in 3 different tracks on ITV and then the ARC Trials on Sunday. So, as Robbie said, fantastic time to be a racing fan.
Absolutely. So there is 3 of us on today's show. Ed Nixon won't be joining us. Wishing Ed all of the best, but he will be joining us again next week. So look out for that. But I will try and give you all the Unibet offers throughout the show across all of the ITV races. It's probably time to get stuck straight in to the racing this weekend. And we start up at Haydock with our big race of the week, which is the Group 1 Betfair Sprint Cup. This is over 6 furlongs, 3.35 at Haydock, and the prices currently look like this. Lazat is the 2-1 favourite with Unibet, and then we've got a gap in the market. Kind of Blue 7-1, Time for Sandals 8-1, No Half Measures is 9-1 along with Sky Majesty. Floor of Bermuda is 11-1, Sarida Darien is 12-1, Bavatier 14s looking at 16-1, and bigger the rest. Lazat last time out, Robbie, was 2s on in the pre-Maurice de Guise. A little bit disappointing. I wouldn't say hugely disappointing. Obviously beaten by Sagier, who was a horse I actually had in my books to follow for the season. But this horse, in my opinion, is still the best sprinter in Europe after what he did at Ascot. Yeah. I'm going to make it clear, in Europe there is a better horse in Hong Kong from what I know. But
no one follows that though, do they?
No, but I do think that Lazat, a worthy favourite here, potentially too short. And your mate in here, Richard Hughes, has no half.
Shout out to Richard. Yeah, he's obviously got the best chance. The price doesn't really excite me though, to be honest. He obviously did get turned over at a short price. I know he beat a few from Britain. He is the one to beat, but it's just the volatility of sprinting. I'm not so sure. I'd rather take a flyer on one because things can go wrong in this race. I remember last year there was a massive draw bias. Everything drawn low was at a massive advantage. He's in 10, he's sort of middle of the pack. We'll see how the track rides, but I've been waiting to back James's Gate for a soft ground 6 furlong Group 1 for quite a while, and he hasn't had his conditions all summer. He's returned off a bit of a layoff. He needs a bit of cut in the ground. He would have just been kept away from the track for that reason. But he's got an upwardly mobile profile. He's got quite a good stride rate. He's won 6 races. Very well placed last season for Clive Cox. Progressed through the handicaps. He doesn't have much to find for me to get involved with the cream of the British sprinters. The conditions are coming right. He's a fresh horse for the time of year. I think he's got a big performance in him. And I could just see him going well at a very big price.
There you go, James Delight. Yeah, currently around 25-1 with Unibet. And they are an extra place in this race, Unibet, as you'd expect, with a full field for the Sprint Cup. Graeme Rodway, our big Group 1 this weekend. Who are you going to be with?
Yeah, it's a cracking race, isn't it, Sam? Lazat, I'm pretty sure, is the best horse in it. But the bookmakers are all over him, aren't they? Got him as a short price favourite. And 3 of the last 4 winners this race have been double figure odds. And the last year it was 25-1 outsider, wasn't it? Who won it? Montasib. So I'm not sure it's the sort of race where you want to be taking short prices about horses. Generally tends to be a race that comes at the end of the season. A lot of horses already peaked. So I think you're looking for one that is maybe still got his best form to come this autumn. And I thought that the French raider, the other French raider, Bavatier, was very, very interesting. I mean, he's been his whole career is a hard luck story, isn't it, Sam? It's one after the other, keep running up the back of things and getting in trouble. But when he does put it all together, he's really good. And we saw that at Deauville a couple of runs ago on soft ground, which is going to be at Haydock this weekend, due to 40. He absolutely battered quite a decent Group 3 field. Yeah, he was behind a few of these last time out at Deauville, but that was over 6.5 in the Maurice de Guise. I reckon that this back to 6 here might suit him. Nice flat track. Super Sumi's on. He's got plenty going for him, Sam.
Yeah,
you must love him. He's a French horse. You love French horses.
Yeah, he's obsessed with French horses, man.
Well, no, I do, but I could easily like Lazat, who, like I say, I do think's the best horse in this market. But I think Bovatier, soft ground, 6 furlongs, that is this horse condition. Whether we're going to get soft ground, currently described it good, but we know how Haydock can change based on the weather. And yeah, I think this horse will have a right chance, and I think they'll also go to Champions Day for the Champion Sprint Stakes with Bovatier, and again, potentially one for the anti-post markets there.
The thing is, Sam, is we're pretty convinced they're all rubbish, aren't we? Like, all these sprinters, they're all rubbish.
Incompetent.
Yeah, they're all useless, and they're all going to beat each other at some point this year. And it's just whose turn is it going to be this weekend? So then you're starting to look, well, who's going to go on soft ground? Who's got the ideal conditions? I mean, this sprinting division is so difficult to judge, isn't it?
It is. It has become a bit of a lottery, and maybe Lazat is the one that just stands out in this field. But we'll wait and see. But 2 big price selections with those extra places with Unibet. Robbie Wilders with James's Delight around 25 to 1, and Graeme Rodway with Bavatia. I have to agree with that, 14 to 1. Let's move on to our second race. We're going to look at from Haydock, the 3 o'clock, which is the Old Borough Cup Handicap. This over 1 mile and 3/4. The market currently looking like this with Unibet. We see the Revenant as the 7 to 2 market leader. Caballo de Mars 6 to 1. Dancing in Paris and Dramatic Star 13 to 2. Stress Free and Paddy the Squire 8 to 1. Kildare Legend 10 to 1. Master Builder 11s and 16 to 1 bar these. And Graeme Rodway, it is a competitive race, but we have a Haggis horse at the top of the market. We see Haggis hitting form at this time of the year. 25% strike rate at the time of recording, and look, the favourite, the Revenant, was a very impressive winner last time out.
Yeah, he was very, very good at Ripon, but he was entitled to be, wasn't he? I mean, he's a very, very short price in what was probably a weak race. I actually backed the second that day, Per Contra, in the hope that something might go wrong with the Fav, because I thought Per Contra was coming back to form. But Per Contra is like a really exposed, generally out of form horse. And yes, the Reverend beat him well, but he should be beating horses like that if he's going to be competitive in a race like this. And again, he's quite a short price, but he will like the ground. It won't surprise anyone if the Reverend wins, but I won't be backing him at those sort of odds. I'll actually be far more interested in Haggis's other runner, Dramatic Star, if he goes on the ground, but I'm not sure he will. So the one that I'm going to back is Master Builder. David Menouzier, the French connection again. David Menouzier, he's absolutely flying, this bloke. I mean, he's nearly at 30% this season. This last couple of weeks, his horses are really hitting form, and Master Builder's got some really strong performances on the ledger. I mean, a couple of runs ago, he was beaten only 5 lengths behind French Master at Goodwood in a race that has thrown up loads of winners. Dancing in Paris came out and I don't know if he won, but he ran well since. Story Horse has run well since. For Master Builder's £3 lower here, and I think he'd be really well suited by softer ground. He's my master craftsman. He's got some good runs on soft ground behind him, and he's a course and distance winner. So I'm convinced this has been Master Builder's big target, and I think that he's going to hit the target here, Sam. Master Builder. Yeah,
David Menouzier, his horses do like the soft ground, and yes, he is in really good form. Winners at Goodwood during the week. Robbie, like I said to Rodders, it is a competitive race. We have got a clear favourite in the Revenant at the top of the market, but there is a bit of value each way in this race.
They could well be, my friend. And I get the case that Hot Rod is making about Master Builder. I was following that horse very closely last season. I don't know, he could be coming right for this. He's got the course and distance form, but I'm also interested in Kildare Legend, who put in a very big run at this track 2 starts ago. Time of that race was good. He did it the hard way from the front, only got beaten in the neck. He's up a few pounds since. He's not a horse who wants really fast ground. He had to miss a couple of engagements at Royal Ascot over the summer, and he actually had a couple of group entries that he didn't make either. So I think that Ferguson and the owners think he's better than he's shown off the mark of 94. He was a beaten favourite at York last time, but the winner was Baylor Bailey, who's come out and won twice since, rated £15 higher. And I believe the third to come out and run since was rated a little bit higher as well. I think this is a horse that's got a big run in him, and you're getting double figure odds, so I think it'll give punters a good run for their money.
Yeah, look, plenty of big prices on this week's postcast, and look, do take advantage of those extra places with Unibet. Certainly worth doing, and there are other offers at Haydock from Unibet. In the 1:15 there, you've got money back as cash if second or third. That's from 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. Do head to Unibet for the terms and conditions there. The 2:25 at Haydock is their Super Boost race. So again, 9 a.m. Saturday morning. If you fancy one in the 2:25, then Unibet will give it a good Super Boost. And the 1:50 Unibet will be top price from 12 p.m. on Saturday. That along with the Unibet Serenia Stakes at 3:10 from Kempton. That's from 12 p.m. on Saturday. And is there anything else from Haydock away from the two races that we covered that you like, Robbie?
I think there is, my friend.
Go on.
We both like one in the Superior Mile, don't we?
We do.
I think this is Ice Max's big day. He was a big eye catcher, I thought, in the Celebration Mile at Goodwood last time. He finished 5th. He's beaten 3 lengths, but it was just one of those messy Goodwood races where he got stuck up the far rail, nowhere to go, finished on the bridle. On ground, that would have been way too quick for him anyway. So I think that suggests he's certainly coming to hand. A few runs back, I thought he put in a really good run at Epsom as well. Time of that race was decent. He split Persica and Docklands, who came out and won the Queen Anne after that. I think it's a good horse when he gets his conditions, and with a bit of cut in the ground, I think Ice Max will go very, very close.
Yeah, so Robbie, a big fan of Ice Max there, and Graeme, Rodway, you a big fan of Ice Max in the Superior Mile at Haydock?
Yeah, I backed Ice Max. I was in the office on Tuesday, and I whipped out my ticket.
He showed me his ticket.
Whipped out my ticket and showed him that I'd already backed Ice Max on Monday because, well, for all the reasons Rob just said, this horse needs is at his best on a turning mile, and he needs really soft ground. And he didn't get the ground last time at Goodwood, but he still travelled like the best horse in the race. But he was locked up on the inside rail, and now he's got his ground. And I don't think this is as good a race. So that was a Group 2 Celebration Mile that day, and this is a Group 3 race. If Ice Max runs to that sort of level on this better ground for him, softer ground, he'll win. So yeah, that's the one I fancy. 115 at Haydock.
That 8-1 was a joke at the start of the week. We came to that conclusion. He said, "Who you put up on the poster?" I said, "I've got to have Ice Max in there," and he pulled out his ticket straight away. So great minds aligned. Sam, is Ice Max going to win?
I'm not 100% sure. It's not a race that I'll be looking at, to be totally honest, from an Ice Max perspective. But I do like one which will come up in my nap later on in the show. So we'll wait to give that one out. But that is it for the action at Haydock. We'll be back shortly after this with a preview of Kempton and Ascot. Welcome back to this week's Racing Postcast, brought to you by the Race Post, sponsored by Unibet. You join myself, Robbie Wilders and Graeme Rodway for this week's show. And as that advert shows, Racing Post Plus, do sign up if you haven't already. Details are down in the description. We head to Kempton now for a Unibet sponsored card. Unibet has sponsored this meeting since 2020 and are the sponsor of all the all-weather meetings there at the course. But the main race to look at really is the 135, which is the Unibet September Stakes, a Group 3 over 1.5 miles. And it's interesting that this has become quite an important race because this was used by Enable to head to the Arc on her big journey out to France. And this time around we see a judgment horse in Calpana head out there, and the market has her as the 1-2, 2-1 on favourite here. Giavolotto's 9-4, Tasmania 14-1, Maidan 16-1, Candleford 22s, and Satavia, who looks like the pacemaker. How much do we mention about pacemakers nowadays at 125-1. Calpana then, Colin Keane has come here rather than going to Haydock. Obviously, he could have ridden Publish at Haydock and also some Group 1 horses potentially in the sprint, Robbie. But it's an obvious selection to come here, get some experience aboard Calpana ahead of a trip to France. Will she just go and win this quite comfortably like last year?
I think so, but it is a better race than last year. I mean, she didn't beat much in the 2024 run. Beat Lions Pride, who's not really done anything since. She's got a better calibre of horse. I mean, Giavolotto's no slouch at all. He's a Group 1 winner in Hong Kong. Wasn't too impressed with him Epsom behind Jan Brogan and Clandingham, but I mean, they're two top-class middle-distance colts. And, you know, well, Clandingham's a gelding, obviously, but anyway, I digress. It's not a walk in the park, but I think she'll have enough. They've got the pacemaker in. Horse rated 60 is quite interesting. Will that horse even have the class to get the lead?
Well, I'll go just try and go 20 lengths clear, try and sprint 20 lengths clear and see what happens.
Probably going to have less success than Kirat, who was actually a smart handicapper before that. But I mean, there's also Candleford in there, so maybe he'll lead. He's led a couple of times recently.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd like to think she'd be too good. Her form is just that bit better than Giavolotto. I could see, if Giavolotto's a bit rusty, I could see Tasmania going well in the without markets as well. She was a bit unlucky at the Curragh last time. Got quite an interesting profile. She's still got an arc entry as well herself. So if there was a bet in the race for me, it'd probably be Tasmania without Kalpana.
Yeah, do look out for those without markets with Unibet. They're sure to be them. And Canford, a horse who I've actually looked at, and I thought this horse would run a decent race in the without markets at Kempton. But wait and see. Graeme, Rodway, will the Kempton crowd be seeing an ARC-winning worthy performance on Saturday?
No, I don't think they will.
Okay.
Am I missing something?
Go on.
I mean, I just don't think she's very good, this horse. I mean, everyone keeps telling me that she's like a, fab for the ARC and all this nonsense. And I mean, I don't think she's top draw. Not yet, anyway. I know that she went through the grades very quickly, didn't she? Last season, she won this race last year, didn't she? She was one of the gambles of the year, wasn't she? She was like 9-2 the day before and went off evens. But I think it was a very weak race. Lion's Pride was second in the race. Then she won that. Is it a Fillies race at Ascot? Fillies races, we know Fillies Group 1's always like Group 1.5, aren't they? They're not really Group 1s, kind of like on the stroke of Group 2, Group 1s. And then every time she's turned up this year, she's got beaten, and yes, she ran really well behind Calandagan. But I think the argument relies on her being like far better on soft ground than she is on anything else, and maybe that's true, but I don't really see her as even a contender in the ARC personally. Not yet. And this, even if she wins this, we're not really going to learn anything more about her, are we? So yeah. Anyway, I've gone on a bit, but I think that she's overrated.
Who beats her in this then, Rodders?
Yeah, come on. Does she get beaten here? That's the question. I mean, you said that you don't think she's as good as an ARC potential horse, but is she good enough to go and win this?
No, I don't think she will win this.
Okay.
I'm gonna back Tasmania.
Okay.
So Mark Prescott's horse last season was third in the Prix de Diane in France, has put in some eye-catching runs this year, not least last time out behind One Look in Ireland when she probably should have won. One Look went round the inside, travelled beautifully the whole way and got all the breaks. Well, everything went wrong for Tasmania. She was favourite for that race, and she was in a hole out the back, but ran on really, really strongly near the finish line. She was coming home 2 to everyone else's 1. I think going up to a mile and a half will really suit her. And I think that she can definitely upset Kalpana here. The other one, I'm quite surprised that Giavolotto's so short. I know that he's a really, really smart horse, isn't he? But he stays a bit further than this, don't he? And it's a small field, going to be a bit of a tactical race. So I thought Tasmania was a great bet at the odds, Sam, myself.
Yeah, I can see it. I can certainly see a lot of people playing the without markets as well, without Kalpana. But look, Graeme straight in there. I think Tasmania could go and win this. And look at the art market with Unibet, currently 5-1 joint favourites are Kalpana and Mini Hawk at 5-1. I'm guessing, Rodders, you'd rather have Mini Hawk at this stage over Kalpana or neither.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's very good either, do I?
No.
Mini Hawk.
You're having a laugh, mate.
No, I think she's very average horse, Mini Hawk. I mean, she is just an old boat. I mean, she's just going to stay and stay and stay and stay, which sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes that sort of horse does win an ARC, those sort of slow staying horses. But something's going to come out the woodwork here in this ARC, I can tell you that. And I don't fancy Mini Hawk. I don't fancy Kalpana. I just don't know what's going to come, but something's coming, Sam.
Okay. I think Alpine and Mini Hawk potentially are good, but we'll wait and see. But I do think there is value in that Artfield, especially with Ombudsman now being confirmed to go to the Champion Stakes instead of here. I think Aventure and Sozi, the two Vertime horses, will be interesting at 14s and 16s with Unibet. But yeah, look, there's the opinions on Calpine.
I'll tell you what could win the Arc, Sam. Leffard.
Yeah, it could, 100%. I believe that's a price-wise anti-post pick as well.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. So that's there could be some value in that art market, and we'll just wait.
When we were over in France, I quite fancied that for the Prix de Jockey Cup, but he wasn't quite quick enough that day, Leffard. But he's gone up to a mile and a half, and he's done it over a mile and a half. That could be the one, Sam.
Potentially, we'll have to be. But look, there is value in that art market. Do head over to Unibet to have a look at that. Right, it's time to move on then. Let's get away from that and head to our second race that we look at from Kempton, which is the Unibet London Mile. It's the series final handicap for the qualified horses. Unibet are an extra place in this race. Sky Safari currently the 130 favourite. Silent Age 15-2. Local Hero 15-2. Dragon Icon 15-2. Final Voyage 17-2 along with Sir Paul Ramsey. Superposition 10s and 12-1. But these are for the qualified horses throughout the season, hence why you're probably seeing a lot of distance and course and distance winners on your Racing Post race card here. But Graeme, Rodway, it is a tough event. Who's going to be the one for you?
Yeah, Sam, this is a race that I think could just go to the Fav. Sky Safari, James Fanshaw's runner. I mean, Fanshaw does really well at Kempton with these types of horses, and he's really full of exposed generally out of form horses this race, and Sky Safari is still going forward, particularly on the all-weather. I think he's won 2 or 3 of his last 3 starts on there. I think Oisin Murphy's a positive booking, and it's not one of my stronger races on the day because I don't like backing Favs particularly, but I think this one might just win, Sam.
Okay, Sky Safari. And Ed Nicholson, speaking to him before the show, he is very keen on Sky Safari, and I believe you had a slight fancy.
It's the
Sky
hat trick,
Safari
baby.
well,
yeah,
I
think it's got a big chance. A bit like Rodders here, trying to get his favourites beaten, but I look at her price and think it's probably a backable one still. She is perfect record on the all-weather, seems to be better on it. Unexposed, got Oisin Murphy up. The race she won last time, she was always up there with pretty strong pace, and everything else that was up there finished out the back. And one of those horses was a horse called Giant, finished 7th, and he come out and won at 25-1 next time. So I think the form is pretty good. She's only up £5. Should be more to come. Draw's fine. I think everything's in place for a big run.
Yeah, I think Sky Safari is shortening all the time with Unibet as well. Oisin Murphy taking the ride there. He recently got up 100 winners for the year. So, Sky Safari, the hat-trick horse for this week. There are plenty of races on that Unibet Kempton card that you can look at. Do let us know down in the comment who your best bet is, maybe at Kempton, maybe elsewhere. I'm back on the show next week, so I promise to read any out if you get your comments in. Any winners can be read out on next week's show. And do always like the show if you are enjoying it. Let us know you're enjoying the postcast. We move to Ascot now for our two races that we've got there, and the first of which is the 240, which is the Ascot Handicap over 7 furlongs. Class 2 event. Unibet once again in a competitive handicap like this, an extra place. And Native Warrior is topping the market at 5-1. Arcadian Thunder 6-1. Strong Warrior is 8-1. Great Acclaim 10-1. Liebman is also 10-1. Tarkan 11-1. Bobby Banu 14s along with Telemark 16-1. But these a 7 furlong handicap at Ascot. Who wants to take the floor here?
Yes, please.
Go on, Robbie.
I think Afentico is a big price. Stall 18. It's going to be interesting if they go in 2 groups or not. They quite often sort of congregate towards the stand side in this race. I can see him getting the rail and taking a bit of pegging back here. Often makes the run in. There's also by Hello Youmzain as well. Obviously, had a lot of smart form at Ascot. But this horse, he's not really been seen to best effect this season. He ran quite a good race in the Britannia though. He was on the wrong side and he led him for a lot of the way. Finished 4th out of 10 in his group, I think, and but just didn't quite seem to get him over the mile. And then he ran in the Golden Mile at Goodwood, and it was just a non-event. He was out the back. He had the widest draw. I put a line through that. He's come down a bit in the weights, but as a juvenile, he had a lot of form on heavy ground. He almost won a listed race in France on heavy ground. I think the slower surface at Ascot than he encountered in the Royal Ascot is certainly going to suit him. And certainly his reappearance on a Haydock, I thought that was quite an eye-catching run. So I think he's got more upsides than the odds suggest here.
Okay, yeah, no, I can see it. Certainly see it. Graeme, Rodway, Look, there's a couple of horses in here. Liebman's a horse that me and you are both a fan of, I know that. And we've obviously got the stand side and the far side coming into effect here. And I know you've got your umbrella theory that we've talked about a few times on previous shows. Is that going to come into effect once again on Saturday?
Yes, that is the thing, isn't it? Is the ground is soft. How much of an effect has that big stand had in covering up the stand side so that we ensure that we get the high draws get the advantage, which is often the case. That big stand covering the stand side rail and acting as kind of an umbrella. So that is a worry, because all of the horses that I liked in this race, Sam, are drawn in single figure stalls. So if the umbrella is in effect, then Robbie will be laughing, because Affentico is in stall 18. See, and he'll come right up that dry stands round. Nevertheless, the one I fancied is on the other side, Bobby Bennu. Roger Varian's absolutely flying at the moment. His stable is in really, really good form. And I thought that Bobby Bennu might improve for this track, because it's got a lot of all-weather form. And you do tend to get the all-weather crossover between Ascot and the all-weather tracks. But nevertheless, his form on turf is solid enough to suggest he handles turf anyway. But if he does take that step forward for going onto the straight track at Ascot, and the umbrella is not in operation, he's got a chance of winning from stall 3, Bobby Bennu.
Bobby Bennu for Graeme Rodway then, currently priced at 14-1. Again, you've got the extra places there with Unibet. And Robbie, just remind us your selection.
Affentico, my friend.
So Affentico then for Robbie, around 20-1 with Unibet. Remember, you've got the extra places there. Some huge prices on the postcast this week. Love to see it. The other race that we look at from Ascot is the 3:15, the mile and a half Silent Pool Gin Handicap. This is a Class 2 event, and the prices currently look like this. Push the Limit is 15-8, Tenability 4-1, Rogue Millions is 9-2, Daiquiri Bay 13-2, Top Team, like we have on the postcast this week, 15-2, Nightwalker 10-1, and Too Soon for the Gary Mooryard at 12-1. Robbie, I'll start with you. Rafe Beckett, if we do get some softer ground, I mean, his horses are often well backed, and he has hit a little bit of better form towards the back end of this season. Worthy favourite at 15-8 with you?
He's worthy, yeah, but I'm not itching to take that price. I think there's a lot of interesting profiles in this. 10 abilities on a 4-timer. Rogue Millions I know he's finished last in the listed race at Hamilton, but that was a really bunched finish, and getting back on softer ground should suit him. There's a lot. I mean, you can go through all of them, but I just thought the one who stood out. I mean, this price can't be right. 9-1 about Daiquiri Bay. It was third in the Melrose. That can't be right, can it?
It can't be.
Even 5-1 would look too big to me. Yeah. Third in the Melrose. That form already received a boost when Novelista, who finished about 7th, came out and won a staying race at Goodwood the other day. He's just been crying out to get on a bit of softer ground, I think, Daiquiri Bay. I mean, Alan King expressed before the Melrose that he's a bit concerned about the quick conditions, but he still finished third in that. And that handicap is always red hot. I think it's going to be the same again. He's run well at Ascot in the past on conditions that are quicker than ideal. And I just think he's on a good mark, this horse. We don't finish in the best of Daiquiri Bay just yet. With conditions coming right, he's got a huge chance in this. Okay,
Daiquiri Bay then, looking at around 9-1 currently for that horse. I think there's a couple overpriced. I actually thought Nightwalker was a little bit overpriced for John and Fady Gosden, who are in good form. Second run after a gelding operation, third last time out in a listed race at Windsor. I do think this horse will take another step forward, and Luke Hatton takes off 3. So, I think that horse is a big price. Graeme Rodway, we've only got 7 runners here, but competitive enough.
Yeah, it's a good race. It always is a good race, this one, Sam. Most years, it's thrown up some really smart horses. Funnily enough, the Reverend, who we spoke about earlier, won the race last year. There's no way Daiquiri Bay is going to be 9-1. I tell you that.
Yeah.
Like 9, probably more like 9-2. It's a massive price. Robbie's already said pretty much everything that I could add, but he's desperate for soft ground, and the ground was too quick for him last time at York. And I'm also not entirely sure that he stayed that far in the Keith Melrose. I think that maybe he didn't get home over 1 mile and 6 furlongs, and going down to 1.5 miles, I think he's going to really suit him. There's no way he'd be that price. Like he'll be second or third favourite here, Daiquiri Bay.
Yep. He's 3-1 shot, I think, something like that, 7-2. That's the price it should be.
Yeah, like the horses, looking at Unibet's website, is shortening all the time. So you might end up seeing this horse a lot shorter come Saturday. But Daiquiri Bay, competent selection from both the panellists, Robbie Wilder and Graeme Rodway, today in that final race that we're looking at from Ascot. Robbie's already alerted me there's nothing else from him at Ascot or Kempton. Is there anything else from you, Graeme, on any of the ITV races from Kempton or Ascot?
Not this weekend, Sam. It's a busy one, but I'm going to keep my powder dry.
Perfect. There we go. We'll talk about our naps, best bets, and anything else elsewhere shortly after this.
Want betting on the horses to be anything but flat? With an app that impresses every time out. You're on. Want to watch live streaming of races in the UK, Ireland and around the globe? And get a chance to win even bigger with 3 Uniboosts every day on any horses you want. Unibet, you're on.
So here we are back for the final part of this week's Racing Postcast, and as the Unibet advert shows there are plenty of offers to look forward to on their website. Do check them out and all the terms and conditions ahead of this busy weekend's action. And it's not just busy over in the UK and Ireland, it's also busy over in France with a lot of these ARC trials and the Moulin taking place on Sunday. I've got a couple that I'll talk about in a minute, but Robbie, anything for you to note in France on Sunday?
I like Almacam in the Prix Foy. I think he can improve for the step up in trip. I think it's been a frustrating season for him, but we're hitting the time of year where the form can just be turned on its head because we've had a lot of fast ground throughout the year. We've not really seen much of him. Graeme was much quicker at York than advertised last time. I think he still ran quite well in the circumstances, and I don't think this is the best Prix Foy in the world. I think Los Angeles ran a pretty disappointing race at Curragh last time. Map of Stars, not a top class horse for me. I think Almacam will give punters a good run for their money in that. Okay,
yeah, Almacam. Another price-wise tip. Rob, I'm going to lead into you here because price-wise put up in the column, Leffard at 25-1 and Almacam 50-1. So 2 horses that have been mentioned for the ARC have been mentioned there. And you can give a mention to Leffard, who we've talked about earlier, but running on Sunday.
Yeah, well, Tom loves Almacam, doesn't he?
He does.
Wherever Almacam runs, Tom Siegel's probably going to tip him, and he might well be proven right that he is top class. I mean, he did thrash Ombudsman earlier in the year, didn't he? So, got to give him the chance to show it. But yeah, no, Leffard, he's a horse that I was really interested in earlier in the season for the Prix du Jockey Club because trainer Jean-Claude Rouget's obviously got a great record in the Jockey Club, and he ran Leffard in all the same races that he'd run several of his previous Jockey Club winners en route to the Jockey Club, which suggested to me that he thought Leffard was top class, but he was very disappointing in the Jockey Club. But he did bounce back, didn't he, by winning over 1.5 last time. He looked really well suited by the extra distance. I think he's a strong stayer, and he goes in the Prix Niel on Sunday at Longchamp trying to put those ARC credentials on the line. If he wins that Niel, Sam, like I've already said, he's not a strong ARC this year. Like there is not a standout contender this year. And if Leffard wins it, he won't be far off Fav, I don't reckon, if he can win the Niel on Sunday. So I'm really excited to see him.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. There are, like I say, so many good races out there on Sunday. I do think if Henri Matisse does get declared for the Moulin, I'm still convinced we haven't seen the best of Henri Matisse, but he returns back to Longchamp potentially, where we may see him right back to his best, where he won the 2 French 2000 Guineas out there. And I mentioned earlier 2 horses for the ARC, Saucy and Aventure in the Wertheimer Silks. Saucy should go in the Prix Foy and Aventure in the Prix de Vermeil. I think they're both decent horses who could end up running big races in the ARC. Let us know down in the comments if you fancy any horses over in France on Sunday. Right, best bet time then. Who are the panel's best bets this weekend? And I think I'll kick things off in the Superior Mile, where the 2 panellists really liked Ice Max, but I do like Prague in this race. Second in it last year to Holloway Boy. The going was good that day, but if it does come up soft, this horse is going to absolutely love it. Remember what this horse did at the back end of September last year in that Joel Stakes. Looked really impressive. Was probably a little bit overrated on that going into the QE2, but I do think that we may see Prague back to his best on Saturday. Robbie Wilders, your best bet, please.
Yeah, I mean, should point out this man has got a bias towards Dylan Cunha horses. Well, he sat on his table at the HWPA Awards.
I think he's a superb trainer.
He's a good trainer, yeah. So Ice Max is going to win that, unfortunately for you. But I'm going to bank on Rodders' umbrella effect at Ascot coming to fruition in the semi-final handicap, and Authentico coming up that standstill rail from 18, nothing catching him. In the 240 at Ascot.
Love it. Big prices going into this week's naps. I will put Ed Nicholson's in there. Ed is a big fan of Sky Safari, which is good because the panel are all keen on that in the 205, the London Mile. So he sent that one in. And Graeme Rodway with another bias towards French horses. That's usually me, but it's going to be you this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Beau Vatier in the big one of the weekend, the 3:35 Haydock, the Spring Cup. I do think Master Builder will run really well, though, as well, Sam. So, and big price double I might have.
There is. There's so many big prices. Love to see it on this show. So you can see them on screen there. They are the naps from the weekend, and they will all be boosted by Unibet. So do head to the Unibet website to access all of those. And that's it for this week's postcast. Big thanks to Robbie Wilders, who heads on holiday now.
Yeah, well, not quite yet, but Tuesday, then going off for a few days. So yeah, looking forward to some downtime, my friend.
A little bit of a break for you. And Graeme, Rodway, what are the plans this weekend?
This weekend I am going to watch Mighty Dagenham and Redbridge on Saturday. They're playing Worthing in National League South, so that'll be my Saturday afternoon. Be catching up with some old friends there, watching a bit of the racing on the side, and then watching Sunday. I'll be glued to the Longchamp Arc Trials. Should be a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, such a good weekend of action. So many races. You don't have to bet in every race. Remember the MO here at the Racing Post and Unibet. Do gamble with money you can only afford to lose. So gamble responsibly. Do like, comment, share, subscribe. Like I say, we're trying to get to 60,000 subscribers. I'm convinced this is the show that gets us over that line. So do subscribe if you are new here, or if you've been here for a while and you haven't hit subscribe. It's free to do so. Hit that button down below. I will be back next week with an excellent panel once again. We should have Ed Nicholson back with us as well, covering the St. Ledger and Irish Champions weekend. Really looking forward to that. But until then, enjoy the weekend and we'll see you soon.